Good work, good scrap, vivid evidence of why the lower weight classification fighters are now beginning to get their hold on the public the way it used to be. And we have in our studio live here in Los Angeles tonight one of those fighters, the now WBC welterweight champion of the world, Sugar Ray Leonard. We have at our affiliate station in Miami, live in the studio, Roberto Duran. So as quickly as we can do it, let's get on with November 25th, the fight, the way I called it at ringside, it was Fight 2. It was the second time around between these two great fighters, and you will see for yourselves what happened. Okay, coming into the arena now, surrounded by his entourage, Sugar Ray Leonard, the challenger. The champion going into last June 20th, but after that, the challenger. Sugar Ray Leonard surrounded by, among others, Angelo Dundee, his chief second and cut man, Jenks Morton, his old friend and trainer, and of course, Mike Trainer, his lawyer and in effect business manager. Sugar Ray Leonard, about whom suddenly there are so many questions. Is he in fact intimidated as you look at him by Roberto Duran? As we've suggested, can he change his boxing style? Will Duran let him? He has seemed to me, and I have known him so well since the Montreal Olympic Games, very tense, very overwrought, but he says he is extremely ready for this match, that he is stronger. Here comes the champion, the man who openly says that Leonard is afraid of him, the man who says that he will knock Leonard out this time, that it will be an easier fight than the last time when it was so close and Leonard was so valiant in defeat. Each man weighed in at 146 pounds. Their records speak for themselves. Sugar Ray, 27-1 with 18 knockouts. Duran, an incredible 72-1 with 56 knockouts. The reach advantage to Sugar Ray at 70.5 inches, to Duran 66. But the man with the hands of stone, as you look at him, from Panama, has to be regarded as one of the greatest fighters in his weight classification of all time. We'll be back, but the fight is about ready to enter the ring in just one moment. We are back at ringside in the New Orleans Superdome. Ray Charles about to sing America the Beautiful. In the background, his namesake, Ray Charles Leonard.
Oh, beautiful, but amber waves of rain. Purple mountain, down the written majesty. Oh, above the fruity plain. I'm talking about America, sweet America. You know, God shed His grace on thee. Oh, now, He crowned like a credited saving brotherhood from sea to shining sea. You know, I wish I had somebody to help me here. Saving brotherhood from sea to shining
rendition. Didn't touch you. Didn't move you. Didn't cause a chill along your spine. I don't suppose anything could. What a remarkable man. What a remarkable performer. And now, as the crowd gives him a deserved ovation, he wanders toward his namesake, Ray Charles Leonard. And Leonard, who was very tense in the hours earlier, now seems oddly poised and confident. We'll be back with the start of the fight in a moment.
World Boxing Council in Black Cross, weighing in tonight at 146 pounds, the former champion of the world, Sugar Ray Leonard.
Sugar Ray Leonard, there is the record already detailed to you, being introduced to the crowd here in the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. Sugar Ray, a challenge at a young age, at 24, coming back, and there, being introduced, the champion, Roberto Duran. His only loss coming on November 17th, 1972, 10-round decision to Esteban de Jesus. He avenged that with an 11th round knockout over de Jesus March 16, 1974 in Panama City, Panama. So they are getting ready for the rematch. You see the two ancient ones in Roberto Duran's corner, Freddie Brown, the cut man, the chief handler, and Ray Arcel. Freddie Brown in green and Arcel in white. Arcel over 80 years of age. Angelo Dundee, the man behind Muhammad Ali through all of the great years and standing by him in the declining ones too. The referee, the third man in the ring, Octavio Mayron of Mexico, a skilled, good referee. We had him in Minter Antifermo too over in London. He did, on balance, a good job. The action begins. What you want to look for here in the early going is if Leonard can establish anything. Already he's showing more movement than he showed in the first fight. But Duran stays in ring center. He has a way of making you fight his kind of fight. We are scoring on the 10-point must system, scoring done by 3 judges. No voice in the scoring by the referee. 3 knockdown rule waived. You see Sugar Ray Leonard dancing as Duran temporarily tries to get to him. Then a quick lunge by Leonard. I'll identify the judges in a moment. The ring, a big ring, 21 by 21. First round action. We are a minute 25 into the round. Duran, a fearsome looking man, no question. There's Leonard. That's what he wants to do in this fight. He says he did not work his jab efficiently in the first fight. Saw Roberto try to get to the midsection. He is a punishing puncher. His 56 knockouts attest to that. Leonard covering as Duran is the aggressor. And Duran is so hard to penetrate. We have 20 seconds left in the round. Leonard trying to put his combinations together. The end of round one at hand. Leonard complained about a soft point within the ring. Dundee went over to test it. I don't know what, if anything, can be done about it or if anything should. But the point is that Leonard was unhappy with the feel of the ring about 5 to 7 feet from Duran's corner.
Hands up.
All right, the start of round two. The first round, Duran the aggressor until the final seconds. Suddenly, Leonard started putting things somewhat together. Leonard showing much more movement. Now, that's the kind of action that we had throughout the first fight. Duran pulling Leonard against the ropes, but this time, Leonard got out and away quickly. Leonard has unquestionably built up his upper body strength, though it still doesn't match Duran's. Duran got in a good, quick right lead just seconds ago. "45 seconds into round two. On the infighting, Duran, the stronger. Leonard hoping to use the uppercut on the infighting, which he could not do or did not do in the first fight. A good right by Leonard. A good right. Stunned Duran. Duran in a fury going after Leonard. But Leonard caught him with a good chopping right. Now, Duran with that familiar leer, half sneer. Look at him. You see the smile across his face. Leonard sticking strictly to business. You see the Leonard movement. A missed right by Duran and then a missed left. As Leonard shows more movement in the early stages of this bout, Duran, who pulverized Leonard with a right hand in the second round of the first fight, has not been able to score in the early going the way he did last time around. Ah, you saw the uppercut, the Leonard right uppercut. That's another part of the tactic for this fight. 30 seconds left in the second round. The best blow of the round, a chopping right by Leonard. It caused fury on Duran's part. We're coming to the end of round two. Let's look at a replay of that right scored by Leonard. First the left, there was the chopping right that stung Duran into a fury. Swinging wildly, he could not score effectively. Back came Leonard. So, the key thing about Leonard thus far in the fight, I said, see if he can establish anything early. A, he has established foot movement. B, he has established that he can use the uppercut. C, he is making Duran miss. And it shows in Leonard's attitude, because while you didn't see him smiling there's Duran. Knows he's in a fight. Furious over what happened to him in the second round. We've got a fight. Now as we start round three, Ray Arcel just told Duran, got to keep him on the ropes. Pull him against the ropes, the way you did in the first fight. So far, Duran has not been able to do it. Good left lead by Leonard. And away from the ropes. making it Leonard's kind of fight. Still a very early going. One blow from Duran. Well, Leonard himself said the second round right in the first fight had him almost senseless until the fifth round. Now that's the way Duran wants to get him. Pull him against the ropes and hit him in the belly. Those blows to the midsection take so much out of him, accumulatively. Leonard wanting to establish and work the jab. That's the way Duran fought the first fight. Duran quickly breaking them. Duran got in a good right. He hurt Leonard, but Leonard is smiling. And Leonard continues his movement. Two great athletes, no question about it. Duran now, that's twice in this round. He has resorted to pulling, holding, trying to put Leonard against the ropes. Duran broke it up. They are now toe-to-toe again, and Leonard got away from the ropes with an uppercut. And Duran trying to keep him against the ropes. Duran not interfering this time. Duran trying to fight his fight. Duran getting in some effective blows. But Leonard himself responding in reasonable kind. And so we wear down round three. And Leonard is openly smiling at Duran. And Duran is furious. The sneer is off his face. It is a different Leonard. There is confidence there. Now Duran is staring at Leonard.
He moved! All right.
We await the start
Right away,
of round four as Ray Arcel tells Duran again, get him against the ropes. Round four underway. Just a terrific fight thus far. Now let's see if Duran can continue successfully to maul Leonard the way he began to do in the third round, under the exhortation of Ray Arcel. Notice how Leonard tries to use the uppercut in close, how he ducked and made Duran miss. But Roberto is a remarkable fighter, indomitable, and one of the hardest punchers for his weight classification who has ever lived. There's a blow to the midsection by Leonard, and that stung Duran. Again, Leonard with the uppercut. I'll tell you this, Duran may clean up on Leonard before it's over, but he's got to respect this young man. Look at the quickness of Leonard's hands. Leonard has said he went to school the first fight. Well, we'll see. 15 rounds is a long time. The right by Duran was caught by Leonard, picked off. Leonard off balance. Remember, Duran is punishing with either hand. We are 2 minutes into round four. Duran with a right to the midriff. Duran missing with a right lead. Short with his blows twice. Duran. Leonard trying to work the left. Duran trying to maul and brawl. Halfway himself through the ropes. And Leonard getting out to ring center. It's down to the final seconds, and you saw a good quick shot by Leonard to Duran's face. Counting down now toward the end of round 4. There you see Duran holding.
The boss in here. Be the boss.
The bell for round 5. Keep up the pace. Keep up the pace. Dundee kept screaming at Leonard between rounds. Be the boss in there. You've been the boss. Stay the boss. Well, I'll say this. It's certainly a better beginning for Leonard than in the last fight. Mayron breaking the fighters. Octavio Mayron. The 3 judges are Jim Bramell from Wales, Jean Deswert from Belgium, Mike Jacobs from England. They do the scoring. 10-point must system. No saving by the bell, except the final round. Usual rules. 3 knockdown rule waived. And a reminder, a big ring, 21-21. Oh, Leonard is in that soft spot that he complained about. You just saw the ring sink. He got away from there in a hurry, but now against the ropes. This time breaking away from the ropes, Leonard shot a right. Fifth round action. A minute and a half into it. Leonard continuing to show movement. Good left. He beat Duran to the punch with his left. Leonard did. A good left that hurt Duran. And when you hurt Roberto, you're hurting a stocky tree. Two minutes into round 5. Leonard smiles. He was pulled to the ground. That was not a punch. That was not a knockdown. It was a pull, a push. And the crowd knows it. And Mayron knew it. And Leonard just smiled. But Duran is falling more and more on his part into the pattern of the first fight. Duran got in a good sharp right lead. It hurt Leonard. This is what Duran can do to you quickly from nowhere as we count down toward the end of round 5. Notice with Leonard against the ropes, Duran having him where he wanted him. Leonard started hitting him in the midsection and effectively. But this is the way Duran wants this fight to be fought as round 5 ends.
Them on the ropes and punch.
Round 6 is underway. It has been a tremendous fight. This, I said, had the look of a war, and that is what it has been. Fighting the fight his way the last round. Bulling Leonard. Getting him against the ropes. More and more now, as the fight progresses, Duran is working Leonard into the ropes. 50 seconds into round 6. Quick left jab by Leonard. Sneer by Duran. Look at Leonard moving, using that 21-foot ring. And trying to work his jab. Leonard trying to ward Duran off. Mayron Good left by Leonard as Duran caught it coming into Leonard. But there again, against the ropes. It's noteworthy that the three judges are from Europe. On balance, they award points for boxing skill, not for falling and brawling. On balance, that's been their history. We are 2 minutes into round 6. Leonard trying to get to Duran's belly, not successful, though he did that. Duran sneering, but you don't win with a sneer. Roberto's got to start scoring too. A slip there in that soft part of the ring that Leonard complained about after the first round. Leonard wanting to stay away from that sagging area, which has the look of a broken board under the canvas. All right, the bell for round 7. Now Duran's corner is complaining about that apparently soft board over near Duran's corner. Leonard had a good round, I thought, in round 6. It's very tough to score a fight between these two men. It really is. Dundee was telling Leonard, you got it in the bag. It's no contest up till now. But that's Dundee telling his man. I don't agree with that, though at this point I have Leonard slightly ahead. Leonard trying to get to the midsection, doubling and tripling on the jab, and not hitting very effectively. Again, go down, Dundee told him. Move down, then move up. Leonard with the kind of movement that made him the darling of the people in Montreal and brought him 27 consecutive victories until he came a cropper against this man, Duran. Round 7. Both men superbly conditioned. Leonard now, he'd better stop that. Duran is no one to play around with, to posture with. Showing his confidence, but he is not doing it the right way. He is taunting Duran with his posture. And Duran is saying, come on, fight, fight. Leonard scored with a chopping right that hurt Duran. You can see how Leonard's confidence has grown. Now the ball out, and he caught him with the left. And he's got Duran openly, not just furious, but puzzled. Duran troubled by the movement. Dundee would be well advised, I think, to tell Leonard to stop that as the round ends. What a remarkable 7th round that was. Leonard flaunting his skills, taunting the opponent, getting away with it. Look in slow motion there. You saw the fake bolo attempt so that Leonard could score with the left. And it is a vastly different human being that Duran is tonight. He seems bewildered. Arcel shouting instructions at him in the corner. They are wiping Duran off, and round 8 has begun. What a fight. And what a different pace, establishing his movement in the early going, establishing his ability occasionally to work that jab. Leonard has fought a totally different fight and not allowing Duran to bull him against the ropes every minute of every round the way Duran did first time around. Again, Octavio Mayron of Mexico, the third man in the ring. No posturing this round by Leonard. I think people have underrated the physical strength of Sugar Ray Leonard. He is much stronger than his body appears. You see the time. The pace is slackened in this round. It would have had to, I think. That time it was Leonard who was holding. Leonard keeps those hands moving. Good left. A good right. He is working Duran effectively. And Duran must resort to pulling in. And he does. Pandemonium in the ring, and Roberto Duran has quit. And out went another Leonard to punch at Duran. Let's get to Sugar Ray Leonard as quickly as we can. In the meantime, try to get some explanation from Roberto Duran's corner. It happened in the 8th round. Well, this puts a new light on things. It was at 2:44 unofficially of the 8th round. And there is Freddie Brown and Ray Arcel. And I want... Sugar Ray Leonard has just come over to shake hands with me. Sure, I know this boy. And sure, he means something to the people of this country. They called him a creature of television, and he fought his fight tonight. Dundee in tears of joy. Duran being hugged. I tell you, that was the most inexplicable thing I have ever seen in the ring. The bully, the man who could stare you down. The man who could do anything, it seemed, but he couldn't. He had to fight Ray Leonard's fight, and Ray Leonard has proved himself an utterly great athlete. There was the toward the end of the fight. Here comes Duran's interpreter, Luis Enriquez, as we look at the replay. And suddenly Duran had said enough. Luis, what happened?
When he stopped fighting, about the round before, he complained of cramps. Many of the punches that he was throwing, he did not like the way his body felt. So he complained to his corner. So they advised him to take it easy. That's why he was taking it easy, and the cramp kept getting worse.
So it was the cramps that started in round 7 that caused Roberto to throw in the sponge. As we look at the action right there, and Roberto, you can see, was not the Roberto Duran that we have come to know through all of the years. Now, Luis, thank you for coming by. I know you want to go over and console Roberto. I hope. Here comes Sugar Ray Leonard. All right, we're in the dressing room with Roberto Duran and his interpreter and agent, Luis Enriquez. Now, Luis, exactly what happened in Roberto's words?
Cholo, exactamente, ¿qué es lo que le pasó?
Dile que me entró un calambre en el estómago y me puse bien débil de brazo y de pierna y por eso fue que dejé de pelear.
He got cramps in his stomach and his body, and the upper body, and then his arms, and he got weaker, so that's why he stopped fighting. He quit the bout.
Does this mean the end of boxing for Roberto?
Posiblemente el final de tu carrera.
Sí, ya no peleo más ya.
Yes, I'm not fighting anymore.
This is final, permanent retirement.
Definitivo.
Ya, definitivo. No
Definitely, I'm not fighting anymore.
Final opinion on Ray Leonard. What does he
Última
think?
opinión de Sugar Ray.
No, que peleó nada. Yo lo vi muy lento a él, pero no podía poner presión porque él tiene que dejar ese peso también.
I saw him.
Él no es nadie. Me ganó puntos porque me calambré y todo.
I saw him very weak in the fight, but my body did not allow me to pressure him. But I didn't think he was that great.
Tiene que dejar ese peso también.
He also has to leave that weight because I could see that he was weak also.
Well, thank you very, very much. Good luck.
Muchas gracias,
Thank you.
Roberto.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, por favor.
The way it was, November 25th, in Roberto's dressing room, from Duran's point of view at that point in time. Immediately thereafter, in that same dressing room, I went to Ray Arcel. Nobody questions Arcel's credentials, his distinction, his character, his integrity. This conversation. This, of course, is Ray Arcel, one of the two cornermen for Roberto Duran through his whole long and very great career, together with Freddie Brown, the other cornerman. Ray, at any point between rounds, did Duran complain to you about cramps or pains?
Never, Howard. It's just said that his arm felt stiff, that's all.
Were you surprised when he said he's through with boxing, he's retiring?
Well, I wasn't surprised because I felt that sooner or later he would retire, maybe after this fight or after the Hearns fight, and that's what he was even talking about. And I've never seen this young man behave in this manner. I've been with him 9 years. He's been through tough fights, and I was absolutely astounded. I wish I could give you an honest answer, Howard, of what really happened.
Well, I appreciate your honesty in expressing your puzzlement over the behavior. Frankly, do you think his pride was so destroyed by the manner in which Leonard fought him that he just decided it wasn't worth it anymore?
There's a possibility that you may be right, Howard. I don't know whether it was frustration or whatever you might have said. I'd have to find out. I have to talk to him. I have to talk to his doctor to find out after he examines him if there is something wrong with him.
But I heard you in the corner. You were telling him exactly the right things, that he had to fight his fight, that he had to get Leonard against the ropes, and yet it was Leonard who was able to fight his fight tonight.
Leonard controlled the fight.
No question about it.
Yes.
I'm sorry to end it this way, Ray.
All right, Howard. You've always been very kind to us, and we have to tell you the truth, and if I knew more about it, I'd be glad to relate it to you.
Good luck to you, old friend.
Thank you.
So that was Ray Arcel. I want to be absolutely fair to Mr. Arcel. I've known him 30 years of my life. He is one terrific human being. He is over 80 years of age. He couldn't fly out here. He didn't even want to go to our studios in New York. He's been so beleaguered and so distressed since the fight and the way it ended. He did say to me that he later was told by another handler in the corner who spoke Spanish that Duran did complain of stomach cramps. And you observed very quickly in one of our pictures that there was, in fact, an ice bucket placed against Duran's stomach at the very end of the 7th round. But in all our review of all of our tapes, that was the only time we saw the ice bucket. That much made clear to you. I would like now to turn my attention to the champion again, Sugar Ray Leonard. First, Ray, do you feel cheated by the furor over the way the fight ended and the apparent fact that you're not getting a lot of ink, a lot of attention, a lot of being called a great champion?
It doesn't bother me, Howard, because what was shown is quite evident. I beat Roberto Duran, and I beat him my way. The press, they said by Duran quitting, does it tarnish my victory? How can it?
I'm asking you.
No, I don't feel it has. If I had complained about arthritis, or I said the reason I couldn't move in Montreal was because I had hemorrhoids, who would have believed it? No one.
But you didn't have arthritis.
Yes, but who's to say he had cramps?
All right, leave that for the moment. Did you feel Duran weakening very early in the fight?
In the 3rd, 4th round, I noticed that Duran was watching my feet, my movement, the way I was going around the ring. And inside, he wasn't as strong as he was in the first fight. And that was because I was stronger. If you really look close at both fights, you would notice that the first encounter, Montreal, I was very thin. Duran looked huge. This time around, Duran was thin. I was huge.
Interesting. Yet he came back and gave you a good going. In the 5th round, you remember Dundee said to you, you lost that round. Wake up, true?
Yeah, Angelo said we lost that round unnecessarily. And I felt that the reason was I was against the ropes, like it happened in Montreal.
All right. Ray, I'd like to turn now to the man everybody in America wants to hear from. I want to go to our affiliate studios in Miami and to Roberto Duran, surrounded by his, there he is, his physician, Dr. Nunez, and his interpreter, and that's Luis Enriquez. Roberto, I'd like to go back to Sunday before the fight, which was on Tuesday. I interviewed you at the arena, and you said you were in far better condition for this fight then than you were for the first fight. Now, how do you square that with what happened at the end?
Roberto, 2 días antes de la pelea se te entrevistó en el Superdome y dijiste que estabas en muchas mejores condiciones que la última pelea. ¿Cómo explicas esto?
Bueno, cuando uno está arriba del ring siempre uno le pasa algo de repente, ¿no?
When you're in the ring, there's always the possibility that something could happen to you while you're in the ring.
And therefore, what you said before the fight, that you're in the best condition of your life, was true at that time.
Y lo que dijiste en el ring, en la entrevista, ese día de que estabas en tus mejores condiciones de tu vida, y eso es así.
Sí, fue verdad.
Yes, that's the truth.
All right. Now, Luis, be clear about this question to Roberto. Ray Arcel told me that when he came to New Orleans, Roberto did, Roberto was already at weight. He said some leeches from Roberto's native Panama got around him and sneaked food to him. Is this true?
Roberto, el señor Arcel dijo lo siguiente, que cuando él llegó a New Orleans, o sea, el señor Arcel, ya tú estabas en tu peso, pero que algunas personas, leeches, siendo personas negativas, supuestamente, estaban dándote comida a lo escondido.
Esa es mentira.
Howard, his answer is that that's a lie.
Is what? That's a lie.
That is false.
Okay. Then, Dr. Nunez, if that's false, why did Roberto get overweight? Because Arcel said he was at weight. And why did you prescribe diuretics for him?
Sir, I have never prescribed diuretics to Roberto Duran because he was never in the need for diuretics. Duran never was not in his weight when he was in New Orleans. And Mr. Duran never got to have any diuretics because his potassium was well, his sodium was well, and his whole urinary system was doing very well. So he didn't know diuretics at all. You only prescribe diuretics when an athlete, because to the stress, does not put his urine out and he's sweating or something like that. But he has never prescribed diuretic. So I completely disagree with Ray Arcel, what he has just told.
Didn't Mr. Aletta also say it?
Not that I recall.
All right. Did then Roberto Duran have a weight problem?
I think, are you telling me that question?
No, I'm asking you, sir.
I think every fighter got a weight problem. That's the main reason of all fighters, their weight. But you know, I think with his training and everything, as a matter of fact, I don't interfere with the training because that's not my job.
How did he get down to weight then for the weigh-in?
Come again, sir?
How did he get down to weight for the weigh-in?
Well, due to the fact of the training. I was observing the training and the diet that was prescribed, not by me, because once more I could tell you that I don't interfere with his diet. I want to, but they don't let me.
All right. Then no diuretics were prescribed by you. They were not necessary.
No, sir.
All right. I want to take you, Roberto, back through the day of the fight. After the weigh-in, what did you eat and how much?
Roberto, el día de la pelea, después del pesaje, ¿qué comiste y qué cantidad comiste?
Bueno, primero yo me tomé un consumé, me tomé bastante.
First, after the weigh-in, I drank some consommé soup and I drank a lot.
Entonces me llevaron a un restaurante.
Then I went to a restaurant.
Me comí 2 bistecs grandes.
I ate 2 big steaks.
Y 4 jugos de naranja.
And 4 glasses of orange juice.
Después me tomé una taza de té bien caliente.
And after I drank a hot cup of tea.
Y comí bastante papa frita y todas esas cosas.
And I happened to eat a lot of French fries.
All right. How unusual is that for you on the day of a fight after a weigh-in? Because habitually you would eat in order to restore strength. Leonard ate, and he ate a lot after the weigh-in, for instance.
¿Es esto algo usual que haces tú, ya que es tan importante de restablecerte el día de la pelea?
Correcto.
Yes, you're correct. He considered that's correct to reinforce the strength. He eats that, and that's not unusual.
And it's not unusual. All right, I want to ask you this question very directly, Roberto. In the light of the way the fight ended, are you now sorry about your actions? Are you ashamed of yourself?
Roberto, de la manera que terminó la pelea, ¿estás tú apenado de la manera como terminaste?
Sí, por eso que voy a regresar al ring de nuevo, para pelear con él.
Yes, because that's one of the reasons and the main reason why I'm coming back. Because I am ashamed of the way it happened, and I want to fight Leonard again.
Porque voy a demostrarle a mis fanáticos que Leonard no me puede ganar a mí. Él no es el hombre que me gana a mí.
I want to demonstrate to all my fans and all the boxing fans that Leonard cannot beat me.
Esta vez me voy a cuidar mucho más y voy a coger la cosa más en serio, porque él no me gana a mí.
This time I'm going to train my way. I'm going to train the way I'm supposed to train because I know he cannot beat me.
Y él me va a tener que dar la revancha.
And he will have to give me a return match.
I would like to make this point in fairness to Roberto as he sits there live in Miami and listens. Dr. Kenneth Nix of Southern Baptist Hospital in New Orleans, the man who examined and rendered the report on Roberto's condition, who examined Roberto and rendered the report, diagnosed his condition as acute abdominal distension. Now you say you want to fight Leonard again. I want to turn to Sugar Ray Leonard again thanking you very much for coming up from Panama because I know that you're not well. Ray, you heard what Duran said. Will you fight him again, ever?
No, Howard. For the simple reason, the first fight, which was a very close fight, Roberto Duran gained the victory. And people say, hey, that's not supposed to happen to a champion. And then in New Orleans, I beat Duran, and it was such a bizarre ending. People say, hey, fix. And now they're saying a third fight. I think the press would kill it. I think the press will destroy any promoter that try to promote the fight. I feel that it wouldn't be in the best interest of boxing.
All right. Implicitly, Ray, you've just touched on another factor, perhaps without even realizing it. So I must go back to Roberto and Luis Enriquez. There have been stories printed, innuendos, allegations, nothing in any sense proved about you, Roberto, and the stories have been suggesting that perhaps you were taking or sniffing cocaine. Is there any truth to this?
Roberto, después de la pelea han habido muchos comentarios, diversos comentarios en respecto a tus condiciones físicas. Y uno de los rumores más bochornosos que han existido de que tú posiblemente usaste cocaína antes de la pelea. ¿Algún día tú has usado alguna cocaína?
No, yo ni fumo cigarrillo ni nada de esas cosas como cuello de droga.
I don't use any drugs. I don't even smoke cigarettes. I don't get involved in none of these things.
Never in your life?
Nunca.
Never in his life. Howard?
Yes?
May I say something about that?
Yes.
Some of the reports that came about that, as you may have noticed, have been reports of negative reaction towards Duran fans, Duran family, and the Panamanian people, most of all, because this is where he lives. Never in his career has Duran been accused or involved or rumored, never in his life until this fight, that he had been using cocaine or any other drug. And it's quite unjustifiable for any reporter, which I have read the reports, to bring, now that he lost this fight, any kind of negative report about Duran using any cocaine.
Thank you, Louis. We've gone as far as we can go, as far as time permits, at least. I suppose this will never be answered as to why he quit. There are theories. One was the cocaine theory. Another was a fix of the fight. Absurd. The man got $8 million. Louisiana State Boxing Group fined him $7,500. They couldn't get more because the remaining monies were already in Panama, which is the method by which fighters are paid under an irrevocable letter of credit. So therefore, the idea of a fix is totally unlikely. In fact, I consider it indeed impossible. I want to ask Roberto Duran one more question, though. Roberto, there was no urinalysis after that fight. I don't know why. You don't know why either. Perhaps the bedlam prohibited.
No había de cigarrillo tampoco.
But
¿Cómo?
is your story still the exact same as to why you quit?
Roberto, después de la pelea, no hubo ningún resultado de la orina tuya y no hay ningún récord de ese resultado. Siendo eso verídico, tu historia o lo que tú contaste o la razón por la cual dejaste de pelear es la misma.
Sí, señor.
Yes, sir.
The answer is yes. Would you quit again under the same circumstances?
¿Tú pararías de pelear bajo las mismas circunstancias?
Si me da un dolor de nuevo, ¿por qué no?
Yes, if I have pains.
Yo no soy un Superman.
I'm not Superman. If I have pains and it bother me.
Para mí Leonard no me ha ganado. A mí me ganó fue un dolor, punto y aparte.
To me, Leonard did not beat me. To me, illness beat me. A pain beat me.
Yo no pensaba pelear más, pero ahora yo sí quiero pelear. Pero voy a pelear, quiero pelear con él de nuevo.
Anymore, but I do want to fight now.
Y estamos a mano uno a una.
And we are even, 1-on-1.
Porque yo le voy a demostrar que yo soy mucho mejor que él.
I'm going to demonstrate to him that I'm much better than he is.
Así que ya sabe.
So
All right, Lois. Roberto, thank you very much for coming up to Miami and doing this show with us tonight. In the meantime, despite Duran's desire to fight Leonard again, you have heard the champion say under no circumstances he doesn't think it's a promotable, workable fight will he fight Roberto Duran again. I want to thank you for coming out to the coast here in our Los Angeles studios and congratulate you. I thought you fought a great fight.